Did you know that there is a new medication on the horizon, a potential game changer that is reportedly more potent than Viagra and comes with significantly fewer side effects? For decades, men have been looking for the holy grail of performance enhancement, something that works faster, hits harder, but doesn't leave you with a pounding headache or a flushed face. Well, it seems that medication might finally exist. Today, we are going to dive deep into a breaking development in the world of men's health. We are going to talk about the specific dose, exactly how to take it, and most importantly, the scientific reason why this new compound is proving to be more efficient than the current market leaders. This is not just speculation. This is based on fresh data that is shaking up the pharmaceutical industry. If you have ever wondered if there is something better than the blue pill or the weekend pill, you need to hear this. This medication is causing quite a stir in the medical community and the market right now. We might be looking at a genuine revolution in how we treat erectile dysfunction. Everything we are discussing today is based on a major, cutting-edge study recently published in the Journal of Sexual Medicine. This study, which came out around August 2025, has brought some incredible numbers to the table. It showed that this new compound possesses a higher potency at much smaller doses compared to what we are used to prescribing, and crucially, it demonstrated a much cleaner safety profile. To understand why this is such a big deal, we have to look at the current landscape. For a long time, the gold standard has been the class of drugs known as PDE5 inhibitors. You know the names. There is Sildenafil, commonly known as Viagra. There is Tadalafil, known as Cialis. And there is Vardenafil, or Levitra. These medications have changed millions of lives, but they are not perfect. They often require a balancing act between taking a high enough dose to get a firm erection and keeping the dose low enough to avoid feeling terrible afterward. These medications all work on the same basic principle. They provide a facilitation of the erection. It is important to clarify this because there is often a misconception. These pills do not create desire. They are not aphrodisiacs. If you aren't stimulated, nothing happens. What they do is work on the hydraulics of the body. Inside the body, there's an enzyme called phosphodiesterase type 5. Think of this enzyme as the off switch for an erection. When you are aroused, your body releases nitric oxide, which relaxes the blood vessels in the penis, allowing blood to rush in. That is the on switch. PDE5 comes along and breaks down the chemicals that keep those vessels open, effectively ending the erection. Medications like Viagra and Cialis are inhibitors. They inhibit the inhibitor. They block the PDE5 enzyme, allowing that relaxation signal to stay active longer, which means more blood flow and a firmer, more sustainable erection. So we know the mechanism works. That isn't the new part. The problem has always been efficiency and selectivity. Sildenafil, for example, is a blunt instrument. It inhibits PDE5, but it also affects other enzymes in the body, which is why people get vision changes, stuffy noses, and headaches. It requires a significant milligram dosage, usually 50 mg or 100 mg, to get the job done. Enter this new medication, fresh from the labs. The recent study was a massive, multi-center, randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial. In the world of science, that is the gold standard of evidence. It means the results are reliable. They took a large group of 765 men, ranging from 18 to 75 years old. This is a crucial detail because it shows the drug was tested on a wide spectrum of men, from young guys perhaps dealing with performance anxiety or mild issues, to older gentlemen with more physiological barriers. These participants had varying degrees of erectile dysfunction, from mild to moderate. The researchers tested this new drug at 3 specific dosages: 2.5 milligrams, 5 milligrams, and 10 milligrams. They then compared these results directly against the industry standard, Sildenafil at 50 milligrams. Here is where the data gets shocking. The study found that at a dose of just 2.5 milligrams, this new medication achieved efficacy results that were superior to Sildenafil at 50 milligrams. Let that sink in for a second. We are talking about a dosage that is 20 times smaller than the standard Viagra dose, yet it produced a better functional result. When compared to the placebo group, the men who were taking a sugar pill but thought they were getting treatment, this new medication showed a 60% higher result in their erection success rates. There is a scoring system used in urology called the IIF, or the International Index of Erectile Function. It is essentially a questionnaire that acts as a thermometer for erectile health. On this scale, the men taking this tiny 2.5 dose saw their scores skyrocket compared to the placebo and edge out the men taking the standard 50 milligram of the old guard. But it gets even more interesting when we look at the sustainability factor. One of the biggest complaints men have with ED is not just getting an erection, but keeping it long enough for satisfactory intercourse. In the study, 42% of the men taking this new medication reported that they could sustain an erection significantly better and for longer durations compared to the control group. This suggests that the molecule binds more effectively or stays active in the tissue in a way that provides more reliability during the act. Now, let's talk about the second half of the promise, the side effects. This is usually the deal breaker for many men. You take a pill to have a good time, but you end up with a face that looks like a tomato, a headache that feels like a migraine, or severe heartburn. This happens because, as I mentioned earlier, the older generation of drugs lacks selectivity. They hit the erection target, but they also hit targets in your blood vessels, in the head, your stomach, and even your eyes. Because this new medication is so potent, requiring only 2.5 milligrams to work, the spillover effect is drastically reduced. The study showed that the adverse events, things like dizziness, headache, facial flushing, and muscle pain, were significantly lower than what is typically seen with other PDE5 inhibitors. It turns out that when you don't have to flood the body with 50 or 100 milligrams of a substance, the body tolerates it much better. The selectivity of this new molecule is extremely high, meaning it locks onto the PDE5 enzyme in the penis with laser precision and largely ignores the rest of the body. This creates a scenario where you have a best of both worlds situation, a highly effective result that facilitates strong penetration and sustainability, coupled with a user experience that doesn't make you feel sick or uncomfortable. For a quality of life medication, that is the ultimate goal. So, the question everyone is asking, what is this medication? Can I go to the pharmacy and buy it today? The name of the molecule is Simenafil. However, there is a catch. As of right now, Simenafil is not yet commercially available on pharmacy shelves in most major markets, including the United States. It is currently moving through the final stages of clinical trials, specifically Phase 3. This is the last hurdle before a drug typically gets FDA approval or approval from international health regulatory bodies. But the fact that this study is published, peer-reviewed, and showing such robust data on a sample size of over 700 men suggests that approval could be on the horizon. Pharmaceutical companies are likely looking at this data and seeing a massive opportunity to disrupt a market that hasn't seen a major new molecular entry in years. When a drug demonstrates it can do more with less, more potency with less chemical load, it usually finds a fast track to the market. It is important to manage expectations, though. While Simenafil looks like a miracle on paper, it is still a medical treatment. It belongs to the same chemical family as Viagra and Cialis, which means it likely shares the same contraindications. It will almost certainly be dangerous for men who take nitrates for heart conditions, as the combination can cause a fatal drop in blood pressure. It will still need to be prescribed by a doctor who can evaluate your cardiovascular health. It is not a candy, it is a potent vascular medication. Just because the side effects are lower doesn't mean they are non-existent, and individual physiology always plays a role. What works for the 765 men in the study might work differently for you. But the trend is undeniable. We are moving toward microdosing highly potent compounds to achieve better sexual health without the baggage of the older drugs. This study on Simenafil is a signal that the era of Sildenafil dominance might be coming to an end, or at least it's about to face its stiffest competition yet. If this medication hits the market with these specs, 2.5 milligram dose, high potency, low side effects, it will likely become the new first-line treatment for mild to moderate erectile dysfunction. We will be keeping a very close eye on the regulatory announcements regarding Simenafil. As soon as it is approved or released, the landscape of men's health is going to shift. Until then, the best approach remains managing your health through diet, exercise, and the current available treatments under the guidance of a professional. But keep the name Simenafil in mind. It might just be the upgrade you have been waiting for.